Ever since I was young, I was always kind of questioning things, trying to find the answer to something. And for me, this kind of rotated around why people were doing the things that they were doing. Like, why do I have to go to school? Why do these people do that? And, as I grew into adolescence, this kind of made me think, like, why do we do certain things? Why do some people do this thing? Why do other people do that thing? And also, like, why do I feel more behind compared to other people in certain areas? And even though I had like the smarts to be able to do school well, I didn't really see a point to it, so I never put any effort into it, and I didn't have much discipline or anything instilled into me. And so I kind of still had this kind of idea, people would tell me that, oh, you do this because we tell you to, because it's important, because it's for other people. And so, also being the eldest, it made me realize that I had this obligation to look after other people and to do things for other people. And so that's kind of what I did to kind of like a low extent, I guess. And the problem with that was that it was externalizing my attention and my motivation. If someone wasn't there on my back, then I wasn't going to do homework. If I wasn't at school, then I wasn't going to do the work, unless I was in the classroom around other people, I wasn't doing work. And, this relates to like the purpose and motivation kind of thing, because I was always seeking for answers, like, what is the meaning to life? What is my meaning to life? What is the purpose? Why am I here? Like, am I just like supposed to go through this existence without ever knowing, filled with this doubt and this just kind of this guilt and this sadness and just feeling terrible? Is this how life is supposed to be? And I've talked about this before, but that led me to a kind of dark place where I thought that, I tried starving myself multiple times just because I didn't care about life. And I thought that, maybe I'd be better off dead. But that part, there's this internal part inside of ourselves that wants to stay alive, that wants to keep going. And so, wanting to die but still being alive, I sought answers. I tried to seek all these kind of videos. I would spend hours and hours just researching, trying to find, looking for somebody to give me this answer. What is the meaning to life? What is the purpose? What is my purpose? How do I know for sure that I'm going to be doing the right thing? And that was the problem. As I said, I was externalizing my attention. I was looking for somebody to give me the answers. They're not living my life. I mentioned before that I'm the eldest, and I will never have the experience of being the second born. I will never have the experience of being the third born or the fourth or fifth born. I was the firstborn to my mum. And it just kind of made me think like, oh, like I'm going to spend this whole life being the firstborn. I'm going to spend my whole life being a male. I'm never going to fully know what it's like to be a female, ever. Because my experience is only in this body. It's only through these eyes, in this experience. And that was the problem that I was having, was that I was looking for this purpose, for this meaning through other people. And I was looking for one answer as well. I was like, oh, if I know 100% that this is my purpose, that playing soccer or that playing music or that going into acting or writing or whatever, or doing YouTube, if I knew 100% for certain that this was going to be my purpose, then I would have meaning in my life and my life would feel a lot better and I would feel amazing in my life and wake up every day full of motivation and be able to go through it. But that's not what life is. That's a false ideal kind of standard that we think life is going to be. That's kind of set in these fantasies, whether it's movies or books or all these kind of things. And even if we look into them, we can see that there's a period of struggle, a period where they don't get what they want. But in the movie, that seems so small and trivial. It seems like it's the pathway to get what they want, to finally know that they've got what they've wanted, and that's where the movie ends and they lived happily ever after. But that's not reality, because reality keeps going. It keeps going into these waves. And the first point that I want to make with this is that it's clear to know what is the wrong answer, but there's a lot of good answers. Like, it wasn't to say that music or soccer or doing YouTube or whether I went into skating or bodybuilding or whatever, what have you, even basketball, none of those things are my purpose or my meaning. They can all have their different attributes. They all have their different kind of good and bad things to them, good and bad factors. But the direction is the important thing, whether it's a good direction, building something, working on something, suffering towards something. That's what makes it meaningful, choosing the suffering and then going along that path, and then hopefully reaping the rewards from the work that you've done, from the suffering that you've put on yourself. And rather than, I took the wrong path, I took the path of comfort, of ease, of pleasure. I tried to have other people give it to me. I tried to do what other people expected of me, and I just did whatever was easiest, which just ended up being playing video games, watching porn, and watching a bunch of movies or TV shows. And that left me feeling kind of numb, because I was like, there's got to be more than this. And there is, but you can't get out of the situation that you have. This pain that you feel in that state is telling you something. It's like, this isn't enough, this isn't quite right. It's your body trying to get you, to motivate you to move forward. Negative emotions aren't bad, they're fuel. They're trying to give you signals that you're going in the wrong direction. And as I was saying about this first point, it's easy to tell what are the bad things, avoiding eating healthy, just eating whatever you feel like, watching too much TV or movies, TV shows, playing too many video games, watching porn to numb yourself out. It's not that any of these things are bad in themselves, it's just that the way that you engage in them, the way that you do them to escape from your reality rather than building on something. If you aren't building on something, then you're not suffering for something. And when you start to chase pleasure, when you try to have more pleasure, do these things that make you feel good in the moment, that ignore all that negative feelings and brush them aside, you're going to get suffering. And since you're already getting pleasure, it's going to feel like that suffering is coming for nothing, because you're not building anything, you're not doing anything. It's going to feel meaningless. But if you go the other way, if you embrace it, it's going to be difficult. If you face it anyway and just try and build your strength to be able to face it more and more day by day, then the suffering becomes meaningful and your baseline starts to rise and you start to feel better day by day. Like, your normal state feels better. And this isn't an easy thing to do, but it's the answer to finding purpose and meaning in your life. It's not that there's a certain path, it's not that there's a clear direction for you to get there. It's just you moving in the clear direction. Have you cleaned your room? Are you brushing your teeth? Are you showering? Are you exercising? Are you eating well? Are you working on a project that you have chosen to do, whether that's YouTube, music, writing, drawing, painting, whatever it is, just some sort of task or project or hobby that you're working on, that you're working towards, that you can spend some part of your day doing, so then you feel like you've done something productive. And it's not going to be easy, it's not always going to be fun, following your purpose and your meaning, creating it. You're not following it, you're creating it. Our actions dictate how we feel, and you don't get motivated and feel meaningful and purposeful and then take the action. You take the action and then you feel purposeful and meaningful, so then you can want to continue taking that action. But of course the path isn't clear. It's not like, you just cut off these things and you suffer for a while and then it's easy, and then you go on this thing and then you feel great because you're working on these projects. You're doing it day by day, you're on the grind and you feel good about it. Of course there is some satisfaction to it, but each day you kind of refresh and you start anew. And that's why every day, every morning, I shave my head and I shave my face, even though I don't really grow a beard, even though I'm 22 now, which is kind of embarrassing. But for me, it's like each day you start anew. That's what it means to me at the moment. Like, whatever you thought that you'd put in, you know, you've got to put it in again today, and you've got to keep going towards it. You've got to keep moving forward. And sometimes that's hard, because when you go off track and then you burn out, or you get these signals that are too overwhelming, like you feel too stressed out to be able to do the right things, then you end up doing something that you would rather not be doing, like the pleasurable activity. You know, you spend the day playing video games, or you watch porn, or you end up watching movies for most of the day or whatever. These days and then you feel bad afterwards, you know, you've got to listen and kind of adapt, because maybe you are working yourself too hard. Maybe you're not eating enough and getting enough calories and enough nutrition in. Maybe you're working too hard at your job, or maybe you just feel really dissatisfied and you kind of feel foggy and you don't know which direction you're going. Or maybe you're not doing enough exercise and your body is just becoming sluggish and you don't have enough blood flow and circulation for your body and brain to feel good. It's something that you have to work on for yourself, which is what I'm trying to get across with this video. Nobody can give it to you. I can't give it to you. Nobody can. They can make you feel motivated. They can make you feel righteous and good about it. But that's not purpose. That's not meaning. It's something that comes deep within yourself. And it's this feeling, like, it's very hard for me to describe. It's like this deep satisfaction. Like, I didn't want to do this thing, but I went through and did it. And then even though it was hard and I got through it and I tried to focus on it to my best ability, I got through it, and at the end, I felt this feeling of satisfaction. It wasn't like, yes, fuck yeah, I did it, yeah. It wasn't that kind of pleasurable thing. It was just like this, we did it today. Just like that internal sense that just builds this confidence in yourself. And, you know, throughout my teenage years, I never had this confidence in myself. I never had this ability to back myself with whatever it was, with girls, with work, with doing my homework, or with choosing what sort of path I wanted to do, or being consistent in my workouts or whatever, and in playing soccer, or playing music, which were the things that I was interested in. And that was because I hadn't built the actions to prove my identity. I could keep telling myself that I was confident. I could try and act like I was, but if I didn't actually do the things that made me feel that in myself, that made me feel proud of myself, that made me feel better about myself in my body and in my mind, like meditating and working out and being consistent in exercise and doing training for soccer or music or whatever it was, whatever hobby it was for me or whatever it is for you, then I had this lower self-esteem. And it wasn't until I started working out properly that I kind of realized, like, oh, I can make a change in my body. I don't have to continue feeling like this. I don't have to continue feeling this shit about myself, about my life. I don't have to think that death is the only way out. Like, if I just face this suffering and have this project that I can work on, then that makes my life meaningful. That makes my life a bit more purposeful. It doesn't make it perfect, but it makes it a bit more bearable and a bit more easier to get through and a little bit more inspiring. But as I said, it's up to you to decide what that is, and you've just got to choose a path. You've just got to decide on something and continue doing it and find what works best for you. For me, I like to have like a bit more of structure. I like to have kind of blocks, almost like school, like where you have these period 1, period 2, whatever. I find that a bit more beneficial, and to like use the journal and write down my day and the day before, just have, I think it's called the bullet journal. I kind of riffed off of that a little bit, where I just like circle like, oh, do I wake up at this time? Do I take a cold shower? Have I weighed myself? But I just write it down as like dot points with each circle, and then at the end of the day, I gotta like cross it off. And I guess you gotta find your own method, but I would definitely recommend just trying to have 1 or 2 things that you want to do in the day, and then write that down and then cross it off. And then maybe if you find it beneficial to kind of reflect on that and journal, so then you're thinking back on the things that you did and how you felt, rather than just going through your day without thinking about it and then all of a sudden you're like, well, I feel really bad and I don't know why. Whereas if you're like kind of studying your life a little bit more and you're working on these things day to day, then you can kind of think more like, oh, I haven't been eating enough, that's why I feel bad, that's why I felt low energy. That was the recent thing for me, you know, I wasn't eating enough, and then I stopped working out as much, and then I got these injuries, and then I haven't been able to heal because I didn't put the proper time into them. And I injured my quad again on Thursday, if you've been watching my last videos, for the third time since, like, I haven't played soccer without pain in my upper quad, my hip, for over a month, because I was just trying to push through it without actually working on it and realizing, oh, this area has pain, so I've got to do something to facilitate it. I've got to give it the rest it needs. I've got to give the attention it needs. And then I've got to make it feel safe to be able to do that action again. I've got to build up to kicking. I can't just rest it for a week, go to osteo, and then come back and then think that it's going to be great again. You know, you've got to work through these things. And that's the last point that I want to make about finding the meaning and purpose. In the day, you're going to have two options. You're going to have an easy option and you're going to have a hard option. The more that you choose the hard option and you face that hard option and then you do it, the better you're going to feel about yourself and your life in general. And that's not to say that it's going to be easy, because if it was easy, then it'd be the easy choice, and then it wouldn't really be adding to your life. It wouldn't feel like suffering and overcoming something and building something. It takes time to see this as well, so be very patient. It's not going to happen in a day or two. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen next week. It's not going to happen next month. Sure, you will feel the benefits next month, but all these videos are trying to tell you how to feel better now, and they're trying to make you feel better now, or tell you that in 60 days, in 90 days, you can be better. And sure, you can see a lot of progress in it, but if you really start from where you're at and you be honest with yourself about what you can do day to day on a daily basis, and then you do that, you're going to find that the satisfaction is more subtle. It's this light fulfillment, and that it's going to take months, maybe even years for you to do it. But if you stick to it on a consistent basis, then eventually it's going to build up, and you're going to be so much more proud of yourself and so much more confident in yourself without you even realizing it. Like, if you think back a couple of years to where you were and then you look at where you are now, you'll realize that there's been a big change. Like, you think, oh, when I did that, that was so dumb, I would never do that now. Well, in a few years, you're going to think of the same thing about yourself now. So that was the last point that I wanted to make. My name was Malin, if you didn't know. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.